Alright, so it looks like we're setting up. So for this mission, there's two setup areas, or that one big tile that we're setting up into the left. And then the other one is the top right, basically that top right corridor from that door all the way to the right of the map. So the mission they're playing is Incoming Transmission. It's a very interesting mission. If you can see those three command dials, first in the top left room, bottom right, and then center to the right. Basically, at the end of those rounds, they get an increase of 3 points. So at the end of the first round, if you control it, you can discard it for 3 points. Second round, 6 points, etc. So the game really comes down to, do I snag them now for the easy points when I can have full control of them? Or do I wait until they're worth more points toward the end, and then maybe my opponent can come in and contest? So it'll be curious to see what both players do. And then the other special rule is you cannot open a door unless you are in a setup area. So you cannot open the doors from the inside of that room. You have to be on the outside. So we'll see how they set up and play. This one is really all about reading your opponent, seeing what he or she is going for. It's very easy to leave one open, hope that the points rack up, because 9 points in a game where you're supposed to get to 40 is huge. But I've never seen a game go where the command dials really get up above 9 or 12 before they're discarded. So if you're looking at a list that you like to just beat up each other and not play the objectives, you take them out early, so the only way to get points is to kill the opponent. If you're very maneuverable, you can try and scoot around behind people and steal an objective they think they have well covered. So it looks like we've got C-3PO. Oh no, sorry, we've got R2-D2 mirror match. And looks like we got Boba Fett up in the top left. Now, Boba Fett is extremely good at this game. He's very expensive, but his mobility, his attack, and just his overall utility in the game is huge. He has a built-in block and a built-in stress cancel or strain cancel. Surge cancel. That just means that even if you're not having a good day with dice, then you can still block damage, which is huge. All right, we're ready to go. So it looks like both players are leaning very heavy towards the top room. I don't know if that's a good idea for Brandon. Now, he is running Trandoshan Hunters, which are very strong, and he is running the Elites, which is usually what a lot of people try and run. And they have a benefit of basically if they shoot someone at point-blank range, they get an additional strain. But I don't know if it'll be worth it versus yeah, and Boba Fett does have backpack jets, which is huge. And he actually comes with a command card where you can give jump jets to anyone on your team. So last round, I don't know how easily it was to see, but I thought I was out of range of a Wookiee, and then Wookiee used jump jets to come up behind one of my royal guards, which was very thematic. So just like I thought, he's going to want to throw all his Wookiees into that. Basically, it's called a data center from the other map. The idea there is the Wookiees have 11 health. They don't care if they get shot once or twice, and if they take 5 or more damage, they get additional. They basically become angry and smash your face even faster. So, with him being able to focus up his Wookiees, throw them in there, I don't think those Trandoshans are going to last very long. But we'll see. you got to remember that Boba Fett is in there. Now, another benefit of Boba Fett is if you leave in a space that's adjacent to him, you have to take a strain, which is either take a damage or discard the top card of your command deck. And as we've seen, basically command decks win games. If you're able to pull the right card at the right time and play it, it's huge, especially because your opponent basically thinks, oh, well, he can only move 4 spaces, so I'm safe by putting my unit here. Well, you play a command card that gives you additional movement. It's huge. Yeah, it probably did cinch his fur, but because that probably did more damage to him, he was just angry, and he did whoop up on my Royal Guard pretty heavily. Now we got R2-D2 just wheeling down the corridor. He's trying to get to a terminal. I mean, he's huge when he's able to get to terminal. I mean, he's only 3 points, but you basically get free command card draws, even if it's contested. So, looks like we're sending a Rebel Sab down to that command node, which is huge. Like we said, even drawing that 1 additional card. Interesting that he's splitting them up. Now, that's the other thing in this game is when you have a deployment card that has more than 1 figure, the question is, do you split them up or do you keep them together? Now, the benefit of keeping them together is when you activate, you have them both in the same place. They can do the same thing. So if you have 2 Royal Guards together, they can basically swing on the same thing instead of doing their own thing. Separately. Now, the con of that is because they're together, if a fight is not going your way, well, both of those figures in that deployment card are in harm's way. So if you lose only one, as we are clear, the player builds that command deck to go with his squad. That is correct. So just to explain a command deck, you have to have 15 cards, no more, no less. And at the bottom of a command card, basically is a cost. You can spend up to 15 points total. Some of them cost 0. Some of them cost up to 3. And then they have basically how many of them you have. So some of them you can only have 1 of that particular type, or some of them you can have up to 2. I don't think there's any you can have up to 3. But something like a Force Choke, which is huge. It's 3 points, and you can only have 1. So that's how command decks are built. You build them with your list, especially because specific cards go with specific figures. But like we said, the idea of also splitting up your figures in a deployment card is basically if you lose one, well, the other one's away from that particular fight that you're losing. So for your opponent to get those full points, he has to go and hunt down the. So you're kind of splitting your scalpel of being able to go, I can put both these shots in the same place or not. Well, it looks like Brandon's going into the room, which is just going to be a bloodbath. I think the game's going to be won or lost in that room. Right now, I'd hedge my bets on Wookiees, but we'll see how much both we can do. Oh, are those 2 focus Wookiees? That's not good at all. Oh, and Biv. Oh, focus Biv is going to be... Now, he's trying to get in there to get that +1 strain. And that plus damage on Biv. But hopefully he'll have the movement to get away. Wow, he's really piling up the damage here on Biv. And he got him. It looks like he got him. Wow. Now, when I say that Trandoshans hurt, I mean they hurt, especially those elite. Now, they are... Oh, I can't remember. But they are double-digit points, so you're taking up a lot of your list. But 4 of those plus Boba Fett, I mean, they're going to hurt. Now, I'm curious of how much these Wookiees can do on him, but he is standing right next to that incoming transmission terminal, so he is contesting it. So unless you kill that Trandoshan, you will not be able to cash that in points. So here comes the hurt, especially a focus Wookiee. So be attack with the focus would be 1 red dice and 2 green dice. When only 1 block. So it looks like it will be a good amount of damage. Yep, 5 damage. Oh, sorry, 6 damage. Astronaut Oceans not have much. This will kill him right here. So did Brandon go over how the different dice kind of boil down and what they're good at? Yep, there's a Trandoshan. Trancham. It's probably wrong. That's curious, right? Oh, looks like we're playing Change of Plans. It's a command card where you can play during your activation. You basically tap 1 deployment card and untap a deployment card that shares at least 1 attribute and is equal or less points. So it's huge. It costs a lot. I think it's 3 points, but it allows you basically to have someone that's out of the fight basically use up their activation to give 2 activations to card. Oh, here's Boba Fett's attack. Look at those dice. 4 attacks. And not bad rolls at all. Especially with Boba's battle focus. Basically gets to choose at the beginning of his shot from one of 3 effects, and I can't remember off the top of my head. 1 is just additional damage. 1 is harmful conditions, and the other I can't remember. But that's what I'm talking about, is flexibility. He's huge. I think he's 13 points, but his mobility, especially because he doesn't care about intervening models because he's mobile. He can fly over poles, stairs, anything, and that ability to just basically choose what he wants to do is huge. So he's shooting again. It must have been a command card that allows that. So we'll just go over the dice just to give you an idea of what the different ones are. Oh, he's playing Boba Fett's special command cards. So if you have a unique figure, they usually come with a command card that just makes them uber good. It's usually 1 of, and it usually costs 3 points. So what Boba Fett allows him to do, I can't remember what the name of the card is, but instead of using 1 of those 3 options you get when you attack, you use all 3 of them, and you get to attack twice. So Boba Fett just took out a Wookiee single-handedly, which is huge. I mean, if you guys were watching the last game, you saw how difficult it was for me to take out those Wookiees. So we'll just go over the dice real quick. Have you seen there's been kind of different colored dice rolls? There's attack dice and defense dice. We'll go over attack first. So when you roll your red dice, it's pure damage. The most damage of any, or the most probability of a damage on any cards. You don't have range. You don't have a lot of surges. I think there's 1 or 2 on 6 sides. Yellow is all about surge, so you don't have a lot of damage, but you have a lot of surges on it. So if you want to run surge abilities, you choose yellow. It's built in. Blue is all about range. You don't have a lot of damage, but you have that number on the side, which basically says how far you can shoot. I think green is basically a mixture of all of, well, there's a bit of range, there's a bit of surge, there's a bit of damage and all. In defense dice, we have two at the moment. One is black, one is white. Black is basically pure just defense or blocks. So you think of like your armored figures, like Royal Guard, your Darth Vader, or Stormtroopers or stuff like that. So you will never have a blank. You'll have 1 to 3 blocks, and you have one side that's a surge cancel. White's the opposite of that. You think of your nipple people, so like your saboteurs, your fast, quick people. And that basically has less blocks and surges. It also has blanks, one blank side, but it also has a side that's called a dodge. And dodge basically means I don't care what you do, this attack doesn't hit at all. So when that dodge shows up on a white die, it's painful if you're attacking. Well, it looks like this Trandoshan is going to get hit pretty hard. So, Trandoshan's going to put a scatter gun into that Wookiee's face. We'll take the damage instead of doing the command card. And see how much damage there's for the back player right now. And that Wookiee is stunned. Now, I think people might argue, but I think stun is the worst condition for you to have right now. As you can see, these games really don't go... Oh, yeah. Having your attacks dodge is the worst thing ever, especially against the Rebel Saboteurs. They don't have a lot of health, and that white dice doesn't give you a lot of, basically, damage blocks. But when that, basically, we call it around here the X-Men, because it looks like the X-Men sim. When that shows up, you're just like, it doesn't matter how many points you get completely with. So you'll get a Royal Guard in there. He's focused. You're rolling 3 dice. You play a special command card that gives you even more damage, and they don't care at all. So we'll just talk about a little bit about the effects. As you can see, there's 2 effects right now on the game. First one is the bleed, which is what both those Transitions have. Basically, if you take an action other than get rid of the bleed, you take a strain, which is you either take 1 damage or discard the top card on your deck. And then the Wookiee up at the top has that circular circle within a circle kind of looking purple shit, and what that is stun. Now, I think stun is probably the worst condition in the game to have happen to you, and the reason is basically you cannot do anything. You cannot move or attack until you get rid of stun. So it takes an action to get rid of stun. As you can see, these games probably go 4, 5 rounds. So you're talking about 8 to 10 activations per figure. So if you can stun a figure, you can take away 10 or more than that percentage of basically of their ability in a game. So you can stun them basically means, especially for a Wookiee, if you stun them, they cannot attack you unless you're right adjacent. So what you can do is you can run up, stun them, and then move 1 space away. Because he only has 1 activation, because the first one has to be get rid of stun, he can only move or attack. Since there's one attacking, you're basically making it so he cannot attack. So it's huge. Oh, looks like we're playing Rally, and Rally is basically an auto include in any of my command decks. What it allows you to do is at the beginning of your activation, you play Rally, and it gets rid of all the harmful conditions. So basically, Brandon saw, okay, this Wookiee is stunned, which means he cannot attack unless he's adjacent. And what he was able to do was play Rally and go, nope, it's getting rid of all these, so I get both my activations. It's a huge card. I think it's an auto dude in almost every deck at the moment. So it doesn't look very good for this Trandoshan or Trandoshan right now. Especially because this Wookiee has taken 5 or more damage, which increases the damage output. I think it adds either a surge or plus 1 damage. Don't quote me. I've literally looked. This is the first time I've played against Wookiees today. So that Trandoshan is hurting pretty bad right now. Especially with that bleed, because if he wants to do an action and not take damage or get rid of the command card, he has to take an action, get rid of. It's really interesting to see that both opponents are kind of focusing up the top, especially because both those terminals with the one surge or the one strain tokens at the end of the round will be worth 6 points apiece. So I'm surprised that, and we might see it later in this round, but if there's no movements by the beginning or the end of the third round, you can swing an entire game by just taking even just one of those for 9 points. It's basically a quarter of the points you need. But it definitely is a brawl up the top. I'm surprised we haven't seen Pope. And I understand that you don't want him to take a lot of damage, but he basically does lock down, especially the weaker unit. So if you get that next to C3PO and lock him down. So looking at now, if we want to look at those dice, the green and the blue are not what you think of when you think of damage dealers, especially against the black. But remember, the Trandoshans do have an ability that if they're within, I believe it's 3 spaces, you have to take a strain. And if they're adjacent, you add +2 damage. So a lot of the damage is coming from the card itself. So if you're not feeling so hot on your dice rolls, Trandoshans are very good because it is just damage. There's no rolling. Brandon's burning through a lot of command cards, which is always a calculated risk, because there's always those cards you're like, oh, I wish I could draw this. And you could be discarding that. So he's taking an action to get rid of the bleed. Oh, and he's playing that gives you an additional move. So what that does is that card allows you to move 1 space without actually taking an action. It's very useful. Oh, and that was interesting. The Wookiee had only 1 hit point left. So what he decided was, instead of discarding cards because an attack was coming, just to take the damage on the Wookiee, and he actually was defeated before any dice. So that's one of those ideas of, do I discard a command card and have a potential of my Wookiee surviving, or do I just take the damage and keep the command cards, which are so useful in this game? So that is, I believe, they are 8 points. That's 8 points for Brandon. And it takes out a lot of the heavy hitters. So that with Viv is huge, because those are 2 heavy hitters that did a good amount of damage to me in the previous game. Oh, looks like the Sav is shooting at poor R2-D2. So, I'm curious of what he rolled. Hold on 1 second. I'm just curious. So, R2-D2 is stunned, which, like discussed, is just always good. It's always good to stun. If you have an option of pushing through more damage or stunning, it can be a little difficult sometimes, but if you don't know, always err on the side of stun. Oh, it's a huge slugfest. The Wookiees went down a little bit faster than I thought they would, especially with Viv. Viv getting taken out the first round was huge, especially because he does have the ability to move in, and basically he gets one melee attack and one shooting attack, which in this game is huge because, like we've discussed, or in the rules, figure can only attack once, even if he tries and takes 2 actions. So you can take 2 actions to move, you can take 2 actions to do special, well, you can take an action to do a special ability and then another special ability. You cannot do more than 1 attack in the game, or in a deployment activation. Oh, looks like R2-D2 is getting hit again. By R2-D2. R2-D2 is trying to stun R2-D2. Now, as you can imagine, R2-D2 is not a big damage dealer, but he does have the ability to stun. Now, because Brandon's R2-D2 is already stunned, stunning again does nothing other than special occasions like special connections. But R2-D2 does have 6 health, which is a good amount. I mean, that's basically what a Rebel Saboteur has. That's double of what an Imperial officer has. So that bucket of bolts can take some damage. So it does look like that Brandon is winning up top so far, especially with Boba Fett up there. But it'll be interesting to see kind of where people go. Now look at that, Boba Fett all the way over in the other side map. Now, like we've discussed, his mobile keyword is huge. What that means is he takes no negative movement, um, basically of moving through slow terrain, or he can fly over impassable terrain because, like we said, he's got that jump jet. Or he can move through hostile figures without spending additional. Normally, it takes two movement points to move through a space that a hostile figure occupies. But Boba Fett doesn't care; he just flies over him. So only take 1. That with his speed is huge. So he can do basically what Brandon did there, is move over and go. Look, You have to contest this or I get these free points. And let's see what these can do. As you can see, Brandon did discard the top terminal to get those points because he realized, look, I'm going to be contested this, so at the end of this round I have it free, might as well take free points now. And he rolled attack dice for defense. There, he figured it out. So this Wookiee was focused, so it's rolling 2 greens and a red. So it doesn't look like that Transition is going to live for very long. He's already taken 6 damage. Yep, he's gone. What's going to happen is because he's got that surge, he is going to use Cleave 2, which means that basically an adjacent hostile figure that is also adjacent to the Wookiee take 2 additional damage. So basically he is swinging his sword so hard that he kills the first guy and kind of carries through some damage to the next guy. So you don't want to be standing next to your buddy when he gets hit by Wookiee. What Brandon can do here is he can basically just run away from that building or that room at this point. I mean, there's no tactical or point reason to be in there other than the enemy. Now, because there's 2 Wookiees up there, one Transition's not going to win, so he can just say, well, I got the incoming transmission at this point, got my 3 or 6 points, I don't need to be here anymore. As we can see, like, the game is kind of moving out more and more and opening into the actual entire map. Yep, diagonals do count as adjacent. It's kind of hard to get used to if you played some any other miniature games with basically square instead of octagon hexes. So you can actually, when you do movements, you don't have to go, if you want to say, like, if you think of, I don't know, what's a good example? You can move adjacent, and that does not count as 2 points, or diagonal. You don't have to move, like, right and up. You can just move northeast. So it's interesting to realize this game is a lot more mobile than it looks because of the squares. Because if you're in a 4x4 room, it doesn't take going up 4 and 3 to get corner to the opposite. You only have to those 4 spaces. So it looks like Brandon did discard that terminal. He did see the Wookiee coming at him, so he realized probably at the end of the next round he will be contesting this. I'm not going to be able to kill a Wookiee in 1 turn. So he's like, I'll take the 6 easy points. Which is a good move. So now, as you can see, there's only 1 terminal left on the map. So it's going to turn into, all right, kill the opponent, or try and run and get that bottom terminal while your opponent cannot contest it. It's interesting to see that the saboteurs have really not been in this game a lot, and that was really a big damage dealer in the previous game, just because that saboteur does roll a red and a yellow, which, especially because some of these surge abilities are so big, is huge, and they do have built-in range. So we'll go over that. Sorry if I already went over it, but range is important in this game. Basically, if you're doing anything other than a melee attack, when you roll your dice, you need to have the numbers add up to at least whatever. So shooting at an enemy that's 4 spaces away, when you roll your dice, you need to have the numbers add up to 4 or greater. Now, some abilities allow you to add range, but saboteurs, because they're rolling your red and your yellow, and like we discussed, they're not known for range. I don't think red even has any, and yellow has the sides that have numbers, and at that point it's 1 or 2. They have built-in range on their card, so they automatic elite saboteur automatically gets a +3 range. So it looks like R2D2 is open the way out of there, which is smart because he's taking so much damage. Curious to see by the end of this round if anybody will be at that bottom terminal to get those points, because remember, those will be 9 points by the end of this round. Looks like Pummel is happening. Now, Pummel is definitely one of my favorite cards, especially when I run a lot of melee lists. Basically, like we've discussed, you can only do 1 attack per round, but what Pummel allows you to do is spend both your activations and perform 2 attacks. So what that Wookiee is able to do, because he doesn't have to move to attack, he can spend both his attacks, both his actions to do 2 attacks. So it's pretty nice. So now, normally that would be the only attack. Because he played Pummel, he's able to do a second attack. This is gonna, just 2 attacks from 1 figure is huge. So, looks like 3 additional damage. See if he's able to survive this. So, it looks like that Wookiee's hitting Boba. He doesn't like him stealing that transmission. He'll move out of the way. Well, check on it. Yeah, I mean, Wookiees are pretty good right now. I mean, from what I've seen. And they're just fun. 11 health, black dice. When they take damage, they hit harder. It's just, I don't know, they're pretty nice. So the only problem I see with Wookiees is just they have movement of 4, and they have no stun ability. But then they also have cleave and bleed, which is also very nasty. No, and the base game is very good. It also has a campaign in it, so you can run with your friends and learn that way. I've played probably 3 or 4 campaigns. They're really fun. So if you've played Descent before, it's basically a reskin of that with Star Wars, which is awesome. So Boba Fett did shoot at the Saboteur at the bottom, and they were calculating range. So basically seeing, does the shot hit, does it miss? No, that's true. And just that 11 health is just so hard to get through. R2D2 is going to hook into the terminal, get an additional card. He's good at. So, because we talked about the speed of the Wookiee only being 4, which is normal, but what you're able to do is basically run away from the Wookiee, especially because you have a range attack with almost everybody at that bottom left. Yep, everybody is a range attack. You can basically run away and just shoot as you're running away. You, nothing about it. Oh, looks like it's parting. Parting blow basically allows you to do a free attack when an enemy leaves an adjacent space, but at the end, you become stunned. Looks like it will kill him. Oh, looks like he's playing planning. Basically, you play planning as a command card. It takes an action of a leader, and you draw 2 additional. So it allows you to cycle and get. So now he'll have 1 additional action. He's just. Is it choppy for you? Yeah, it looks all right on my side. If anybody else is having problems with it, let me know. Oh, looks like Bobo's taking a little bit more damage. Oh, and he's able to discard it for 9 points. See, I've never seen any go above 9 points. It's just too juicy to ignore. So both draw 2 because they both get your 1 normal +1 from your terminal that you control. And pass initiative, and they'll reset. Check on the score. You know who's close and is. Well, the score right now is 30-19. So from now on, because the terminals, all 3 of those terminals have been, or objectives have been discarded, the only way to get points is to kill the enemy. I wish they had immunity just like in the series, but they can be hit by laser fire. I'm going to go with the idea that the stormtroopers were told not to hit our heroes in the movies because they wanted to find the rebel base. But rebel troopers and stormtroopers do have trouble hitting. Good question. So this list is a rebel list, but if you actually look at the leftmost of the screen at that card that has Boba Fett and 2 guys standing next to him, there's a card called Loose Ties, or I can't remember what the card is. It basically allows you to take up to a certain amount of points that are scum. So he is a mix of rebels and scum. Normally that would not be allowed, but with that card, I think it's Loose Alliances or something like that, you're allowed to take to a certain points of a scum in your list. Someone actually built a list that had Han and Boba in the same team, which was entertaining to say the least. Let them know that they have 10 minutes remaining. Temporary license, that's what it is. It's, yeah, the other way around. And there's another way that you're able to have a rebel list, and one of the rebel unique characters allows you to take a scum. So with only 9 minutes left, this is boiling down, and there's a lot less figures on the board than there was at the beginning. So, looks like that Saboteur is getting shot in the face. and see how much damage is done, but not roll the dodge. And that will take him out. Looks like it. So he's using Gideon Focus and Wookiee into base contact with Boba Fett. So probably setting it for something like Pummel or just being in the range to use a focus attack. So Brandon's not going to allow that, which is a good. Just fly away, basically, which is a good move. And hit the juicy Saboteur that's sitting there. Now, the Saboteurs have white dice and 6 health, but Brandon played Element of Surprise. I believe that's what it is, which basically says at the beginning of your turn, not in line of sight, you play this card, you get 1 dice from the end event. So basically, this rebel, just whatever damage he's able to roll, has to take. Does not look like that great of a roll. Wow, I'm surprised he did not take him out there. He should have, especially with moving that white die. So R2-D2 is going to go up and stun. Oh, and looks like he used Expose Weakness, which basically means the next attack on Boba Fett gets Pierce 3. What Pierce means is basically remove that many blocks from defense die. So if I roll 1, basically that doesn't exist. For Pierce 3, you basically remove all 3 blocks. Now, if you don't roll any blocks, it's not additional damage. It just means that you. Oh, it, what is last turn? Take a shot at C3PO. C3PO cannot attack in this game. He has absolutely no attack, which makes sense, but he did roll a dodge because he is a coward. He's hiding, so because of that dodge, the attack misses. This book is gonna. This is a focus attack where it does have pierce. So that 1 is completely. Yep. So it gets that away, and he does have a built-in search cancel as well. So he only took 2 damage and a bleed, which is pretty good, especially because it did have. So he unstunned the Wookiee, and now he's moving. Towards the end of this round, looks like they will have this round done before time expires, so they will be able to play one additional. See if it's able to put out. Looks like just go straight to points. So 2D2 is just wheeling all around. Takes some damage, but he does have an ability called Lucky. So the white dice, if you roll dodge or the blank side, they both count as dodges. So instead of a 6 chance, a third of a chance of half. So R2D2 did shoot at Saboteur, but not get the range, so the attack does not go through. Now C3PO also does have the ability where if you are attacking a figure adjacent to C3PO, the ability is called Distracting, since he is very distracting. That the defender gets a +1 surge cancel. Oh, and they take initiative, which is you tap a card and you take the initiative for that. So instead of passing it to your opponent, you get to first the and he's playing Pummel. So we'll see if Boba Fett's able to survive this. I'd be surprised if he was able to, be honest. The 2 attacks, especially with them focused. He does have that +1 block, +1 search. Not dead yet. See if the second attack is able. And he is bleeding. Alright, well, let me let him know that they need to finish this round, and that will be it. So we'll see what happens at the end of this round. Time. Wow, so Boba Fett is able to completely negate that second attack, but he does have only 4 hit points left. So he is worth 13 points, which is huge in this game. So we'll see if we're able to take him out or not. Oh, okay. The Rebel Saboteur is almost dead. So it's a lot of almost dead units on the board right now, and this is the last round because the match time has expired. So at the end of the round, whatever points are, that's what the game will be. So it was a blank, but he played a command card that allows him to re-roll a defense dice, and he rolled a block surge cancel. So that's what let him survive. But he was weakened. Okay. So apparently they skipped second Wookiee on their activation because we did do the pummel. So he's going to activate the Wookiee, and then get back to time. Looks like Gideon is still alive, and 3PO is a coward, so he cannot attack this game. So it looks like Gideon will survive. Gideon's moving up, focusing the 7, just to make sure that you can get that additional dice. Any more dice you can get, any dice rolling. Ooh, strength in numbers. So oh wow, 3. So because it's Boba, you will get a +1, so that's 4 blocks and a surge cancel. So he takes 2 damage. He could have been dead. He's not. He's able to survive. The question is he able to survive this attack in this game? But it looks like he will because he's already activated. Gideon's already activated. Saboteurs are already activated. Unless R2-D2 runs up and basically stuns him to death, it looks like Boba will actually survive, which is huge. I mean, you've been watching this whole game. He's been hit a lot. So Gideon will and just move away, make sure it doesn't take any damage. see what's. I think G2 is the only one that can activate. Oh, no, nothing. GD2 cannot do anything. He'll just. You can see that GD2 is not really a damage dealer, but he does just give control turns, which is huge. So this Brandishan is running after the Saboteur with his scattergun. Yep, he is focused, so off. So it's like, see what happens. Oh, and he got him, which is additional points for Brandon. And it looks like this game. R2D2 is the only one that has left to activate, but doesn't look like he's going to do anything. Sure. It was an interesting. So. What's up? Yeah. Oh. Ow. Ow. So, what was the final score?
Well, what was the final score? I had 37. We went to time again. 37 to 19.
So just run me through your idea. When I saw that both of you guys lined up for that top room, I thought Wookiees and Saboteurs would take over Grandishans, but it didn't look like that was what happened. What was your idea of moving in there?
Well, it's like I had initiative at the start of the game, so it's like I kind of I set up to go after that one point. Like there's a score in that top room there, with most of my guys, and then I put R2 and who else did I put down at the bottom? Gideon, yeah, it was down at the bottom of the door. And that was to get R2 to that terminal as quickly as possible. But it's also, we were talking about it when before your first game, or during, I was talking about it in the commentary during your first game, the pass rule. Like he had more activations than me, so I kind of, even though I was right there ready to enter the room, I passed a couple of times to find out where he was going, and then I was just like, all right, I don't want to open this door, so I'm going to hold out as long as I could. And that was just kind of my idea at the beginning of the match.
That's fair. And what were your thoughts on the Wookiees?
I mean, they have so many hit points. It's like, and it's in the past, just like I find that I play better. Like I have to make a decision to clear an enemy. It's just like I play a lot of X-Wing. It's like focus fires everything in X-Wing, and it means a lot here too. It's like I don't have a huge amount of damage output, but so that means I have to focus repeated activations even. But it was like I cleared Wookiees, and I cleared Biv at first, and then I got a pair of Wookiees like shortly after that, and then it was a lot the damage coming at me was a lot lighter. After, what were you think? Like, Jimmy and I play together a lot. And it's like, and I love my Trando. Like every list I play has these Transoceans in it. So like, what were you thinking at the start of the match?
I was honestly thinking owning that opening room. I was waiting for you to open the door, and then
I didn't want to open the door.
Oh, you opened the door, and I was going to go Biv, close and personal, and I had Biv's card in my hand. If I didn't kill something, I was going to attack again and kill something. And you killed Biv on your first action, which really sucked. That made it rough. And then I made a huge mistake in that I moved the Saboteurs down. I figured I'd take the other 2 points. What I should have had them do is go up there and blast, which is what my original plan was, but I got away from that. After seeing Biv die, I'm like, okay, now I need to cover up. But I kind of lost my thought process after Biv died.
So, what were you like? But we watched Boba Fett just go all around the map and never die, even though he got shot. I don't know, almost every round.
Yes.
Like, what were your thoughts on there? Because when we first saw it, we were like, okay, you've got both of those bottom terminals kind of operated well, and then we looked up and Boba was in your backfield just flying around. Yeah.
Boba was in the starting room, just kind of taking pot shots around the corner, and then Boba was on top of the objective of the other side.
So what were your thoughts when that happened? It's probably a lot of, oh no, I got to cover both those points. Because at that point it was round 2, and it was bad.
It was rough. I didn't count on that, admittedly, or else I should have discarded that the first round. But I figured that I had those 2 safe with everything over there. I figured it was safe just to let it build up. And that was, of course, a mistake, because Boba's 12 movement is just, well, 6 and 6.
Yeah. Only because we have people that don't play. Just to clarify, we've mentioned that if you don't take any other actions, you're allowed to move twice. Boba has 6 movement, and he has this ability called Mobile, which means he can ignore difficult terrain. So he basically just flies over everything that's in his way. So that was how, like, I was shooting around the corner, and then I was suddenly at the other end just because Boba's so fast. And it's the reason I really like Boba Fett is he can peek and shoot and hide again, like, really well, and a lot of figures can't do that. They can do, like, they can shoot, move, or move and shoot, and then maybe back up 1 or 2, get away from those royal guards that you like so much.
Right. And we were watching C-3PO kind of just follow you around. Are you still sold on him, or what are your thoughts right now?
I like C-3PO. I mean, focus is good, and the surge kill is good. And then your opponent has to go, okay, do I want to waste attacks on killing C-3PO? And he's got Cower, which makes the Imperial officers very irritating. Or...
You mentioned wasting attacks on C-3PO. Like, at probably round 3-ish, I had this cluster of people that had run away from you in 2 directions. Like, down here, it's like, okay, my only good target's C-3PO. I can shoot that Wookiee, but I can't kill it. So it's like... And then I shot, like, the one time that I said, you know what, I'm going to go over there and shoot the droid, and he got the X symbol, which cancels the attack. So I played C-3PO for a while when I first got the droids, and he's annoying. It's like, and he's cheap. It's a good activation. I interrupt you. I'm sorry. Continue.
But but I haven't played that much. I haven't played the Wookiees much, so I don't know if getting rid of Gideon and C-3PO and R2-D2 is worth adding another Wookiee troop in there, because the Wookiees are good. They're beefy. They're hard to kill. So, but the extra stuff it gives you, the focuses, the card draw stuff, is it worth giving up that 1 deployment?
I think you'll notice not having those focus tokens. And it's just like, that was when I threw 3PO, and actually I switched out 3PO for Gideon in my list. I was just like, and I was just noticing that my damage output was that much better because I can get a focus token every turn, and that matters. More dice is good. You know, who'd have thought? It's a math or something. Any closing thoughts? You were watching, or you? I don't know.
Oh, you go. You're fine.
That was an interesting game to watch, just especially because it started up in that room, and I knew that it would be very bloody, and it was. And then you guys are like, oh, look at the bottom. Now that 3 points not that interesting. 6, that's good. And then once it got to 9, and then we were like, okay, go straight for the 9, and that's kind of how it was. I thought it'd be a lot faster in the top room than it was, just because I thought it would be in my face. But no, it was an interesting, and I really like this map, like this mission, so it was really interesting.
I do. I've only played this one a couple of times, and I forgot how much I liked it, to be honest with you. Let's Jimmy, would you do the honors and from that stack right there, draw our last mission? And then I'm gonna go up